Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Hamashiach Malak Yahushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the men of the Lord who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and doing all things for the elect's sake, and magnify the name of Yahweh while Yahweh Shah. Shalom to those men. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwaf out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive, being diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to everybody tuning in live. Yafei Israel, Solomon McFadden, Ancients New, Why Don't We? Judah Manya, Shalom King, Love Pious, K Rock the Don, Nehum Yasha Allah, Aliyah Hawksworth, Melodic Tunes, LLC, HBK Int, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. We got a mighty topic through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai. The most Slakia, the truth, right? The truth about Noah, the flood, and giants. So we're going to dive into the book of Genesis, the latter part of the 5th chapter, the 6th chapter. We'll see how much we can go into, because really, when you want to talk about Noah, that starts at the latter end of Genesis 5. It really kicks off in Genesis 6. You have Genesis chapter 7, Genesis 8, and Genesis 9. So those are key chapters that talk about the life of Noah, and I speak about what you know as Noah and the ark. Just about everybody and their relative, they know about they know about Noah and the ark. You understand? They know these things, man. You can ask the average Joe Schmo on the streets of any major city, and they'll know about Noah and the ark. Even these so-called Christians in Sunday school, they speak about Noah and the ark and the animals that went in by two. But do we really understand what really went on during the time of Noah and the flood, man? People talk of giants, fallen angels, all types of madness and confusion, and we want to be able to break it down. Nephilim, like someone put on the live comment board, the concept of Nephilim and fallen angels and giants, and what really went down during the time of the flood through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Mashiach Yahushai. So we're going to get right into it. Let's go to the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, right? And this is really a ongoing series going into the book of Genesis, because we've covered the 1st chapter with the creation, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter, the 4th chapter, what really happened between Cain and Abel, and now we're picking up in Genesis, the 5th chapter, right? So we want to get a good understanding of the book of Genesis, because really it's the beginning, obviously, and it paints the picture of, and it really paves the way of events that will follow, right? And of our forefathers in our lineage. Now, this Genesis chapter 5, and I'm gonna just get straight to the point. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, this same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. So his father really was a prophet. You know, in the book of Tobit, it says, for we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Remember my son that from the beginning, right? Let me get that precept real quick. Lamech prophesied that Noah would comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. So Lamech, his father, was a prophet. Now, Lamech in the Hebrew means powerful or mighty, right? Now, when you go to this, it's like in the book of Tobit, let's prove that he was a prophet, right? Tobit chapter 4 and 12. This is what Tobit told his son Tobias. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, so from the time of Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalil, etc., Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Noah, our fathers from the beginning, even they all married wives of their own kindred and were blessing their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. And you may say, well, okay, I know Noah was a prophet. Well, yeah, he prophesied of the flood. Abraham was a prophet. He prophesied of a lamb. In Genesis, the 20th chapter, he said the Most High will send a lamb. Isaac prophesied in Genesis, the 27th chapter, concerning Jacob and Esau. Jacob prophesied in Genesis, the 49th chapter, Genesis, the 28th chapter. So we are the children of the prophets. Even our forefathers prophesied when they named their sons. Lamech knew in the spirit what Noah would do on the earth, saying, this same shall comfort us, because the word Noah means comfort. Noah in the Hebrew is Nawak, which means rest or comfort. That's what the word Noah means. Because during this time, you have to remember that the ground was cursed. This is on a literal level, right? You can break it down to the spiritual level, but on a literal level, the ground was cursed. Let's go back to that. This is the purpose of why the Most High sent Noah, and why Lamech named Noah, to comfort the sons of God based off of the sins that go back to Adam, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter. This is Genesis chapter 3 and verse 17. Now, this is after Adam went off through idolatry. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Now you got to remember, prior to this curse right here, Adam was freely allowed to eat off the trees, man. He didn't have to literally go out there and toil in the ground. Adam was a king on the earth, a god on the earth. When you trace that lineage back in Luke, the 3rd chapter, it goes back to Adam, and it says Adam, Slaki, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. That's Luke chapter 3, 27, all the way on down. Adam was the son of the Most High God. But when Adam fell, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter. The Most High not only wrought death in man, but he also affected the climate, the ground, the vegetation, the course of nature, and how it would benefit the sons of the Most High. It was all turned upside down. Now, this 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 5. And gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. Right. And if you want to know more about Adam, go on the same channel, and we went into Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and Genesis, the 3rd chapter, and broke that down. Adam was the chosen man out of all of the men, exalted by the Most High God to be the righteous one, to enforce order and laws and commandments in that region on the earth at that time. He was made living through the Spirit, right? And thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before the earth came forth. So Adam was in paradise, man. Now there's a paradise in the earth, in the 3rd heaven. Remember, Yahweh Shah told the malefactor, he said, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. Right? Now remember as well, the Apostle Paul said in 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, how he was caught up to the 3rd heaven and caught up into paradise. So the 3rd heaven is paradise, but also Eden in the Hebrew is Aidan, which means paradise. So Adam didn't dwell in a cursed estate. It's actually hard to imagine. Some people they go to Hawaii, they go to Bora Bora, they travel to the islands, St. Thomas, St. Lucia, and they're traveling around the world, and they're in these different exotic tropical places, and they're in awe of how peaceful and serene and beautiful it looks, man. That's small compared to what Adam got to see and experience, man. Adam lived in a paradise type of life. But when Adam fell, the Most High cursed the ground, right? Curses the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. And remember, the earth was made for us. Right? Let's get that in 2nd Ezra chapter 7. The Most High boxed us in, for lack of better terms, hedged in our way. And this is the beginning of why Noah is going to be brought forth on the earth. Right? To essentially break this curse ground, man, and break the curse that was put on Adam and the sons of God. Because not only did Adam have to deal with that, his son Seth. Seth had to deal with it. Enos had to deal with it. Canaan had to deal with it. Mahalalel had to deal with it. Jared had to deal with it. Enoch had to deal with it for the time that he walked the earth. Methuselah had to deal with it to the time of the flood. Lamech had to deal with it, man. And they were there, and it was a cursed estate, man. Exiled from paradise, evicted from your kingdom on the earth to labor and toil. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 10. And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So our portion, meaning our lot to make it to the kingdom, we have to go through fire and water. Hard life, a narrow gate, and through much tribulation. That's our portion to make it. Because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, which shows Adam had the law, then was decreed that now is done. So this decree is speaking about what happened, the decree that the Most High gave in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. The Lord made an ordinance, a law, rooted in punishments for disobedience. He said, I will now decree that if you want to get back to paradise, if you want to get back to peace and serenity and dominance and rulership and sovereignty on the earth, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to go back through a hard, narrow gate. Then was decreed that now was done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. There but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. And this is what man had to deal with, the sons of God. The sons of God were made to be, the Most High said in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, they were made to be immortal. Right? I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but I'm going to just read it. Right? Let me go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and 23. We have to stop downplaying the sons of God and understand the importance of this curse. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and 23. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. I'm going to read that again. Right? Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 and 23. For the Most High created man to be immortal, meaning to live forever without death, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. You see that? So now the Most High, he made things tough. You know, things are a little bit tougher now, man. Now, in order to make it to the kingdom, you got to go through hell. Your family got to separate from you, and your woman might leave you. Your kids might buck up against you. You might catch all types of different events through time and chance. Your car may break down. You might get fired from your job. Your back might start hurting out of nowhere. You might get migraines, and now you're sick all the time or whatever, man. Now you're dealing with Slakia, envy, Slakia, evil, and perils, man. For the 2nd Ezra 7 to 13, for the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. And there are really two worlds, really three worlds. You got the elder world, you got this world we live in now, and you got the world to come. Another word for world is an age. You know, and Esau he takes that from the Most High. He says this is the Ice Age, the prehistoric age, the Cambrian age, the Cenozoic age, the damn Stone Age, and he breaks it up into 100,000 year periods, man. Well, the Most High already established that. He has the elder world. The elder world runs from the time of the creation of man to the time of Adam. That was the elder world. Now, have you been to the elder world? No, nobody has been to the elder world. That was at that time. That was something that Adam got to experience, man. You know, and the men that submitted to him during those ancient times. But now we live in this world. Now this world are just full of madness, man, and sodomy and freaking off and death and madness and rebellion. And then you have the world to come. Right? Let me get that in Matthew the 12th chapter. The world to come is the kingdom. Now Noah was brought into the world after the time period of the elder world. And after the elder world expired, that's when you had this great downfall of man on the earth and the sons of God. Right? St. Matthew chapter 12 and 32. And whosoever speaketh the word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven him. But whosoever speaketh against the Holy Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. So you got this world and you have the world to come, which is the age of the kingdom. And then you have the elder world. So those are three different age gaps or epochs, if you can understand. And the elder world, it brought immortal fruit. So these are the things that we have to deal with. And these are the things that Noah's father had to deal with. Lamech had to deal with evil, man. He had to deal with the sons of Cain. The sons of Cain were wicked, man. You had wicked men on the earth. Now, are there great accounts of those interactions between the sons of God and the sons of the wicked? No. But you know how Esau moves, man. Esau is not going to be wicked by himself. The sons of Cain, they had cities. Tubal Cain made weapons. So you got to do a lot of, reading between the lines in the book of Genesis. A lot of extrapolation. You had murder. Tell you that in Genesis. Let me get Genesis the 6th chapter. Right? Let me go back to this. So this is why Noah's born during an evil age, an evil time. Similar to the time that we live in now. And we represent Noah as well, but not in the elder world, but in the present world, the present evil world. Let me get that real quick in Galatians, and I'm going to go to Genesis. Right? The Most High calls this, Salakia, it's in Galatians, the 1st chapter, the present evil world. I may have to do a series on this, right? Because I don't want to leave no stone unturned. Right? Galatians chapter 1 and verse 4. I'm going to start at 3. Galatians chapter 1 and 3. Grace be unto you. It's like your grace be to you and peace from the Most High the Father and from our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach, who gave himself for our sins, that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of the Most High and our Father, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen. So now the present evil world starts with the exile of Adam all the way up until the time that Yahushua returns. That's that epoch or great age gap. That's the present evil world. The present evil world didn't just start during the time of Galatians, when that church was established. That's the time period, from the time of the exile of Adam all the way up until the time that Yahushua returns. Now, with that being said, let's go to the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter, to show you the life that Lamech had to live in and his father Methuselah, man. Right? Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to actually jump down. Then I'm going to go back to this. Genesis chapter 6 and 11. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. So who do you think was causing violence on earth? Was it the sons of God? No. Who do you think were causing violence? The sons of the wicked and other corrupt men who fell off. Apostasy. The fallen ones. And we're going to cover all of that, man. Violence includes murder, rape, man stealing, arson, removing a landmark, taking the field of the fatherless, and many other things. Innocent bloodshed. And this is the time that Noah lived in, man. This is the time that Lamech lived in. This is the time that Methuselah lived in. That's why again Lamech said, look, may this man essentially comfort us, man, from all of this evil and hell that we're catching. May he give us rest. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. You see that? Now I want to go back to Genesis, the 5th chapter. Right? I don't want to click on devotions. Right? I want to go to Genesis 5. Right? Let's go back into it. So now you really, when you read the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter and the 6th chapter, you got to get into it. You have to literally put yourself in that time period and stop just thinking about a big boat. You know, a lot of people, they read the account of Noah and they just think about a big boat that was on water with two of every kind. But you got to think about the sons of the wicked, the violent acts that they were doing, where the sons of God lived, how they may have had their isolated communities, all of the cities that were built by the sons of the wicked, the violence, the murder, the laboring, the damn wasteland. The earth may have looked like a wasteland. Let me pull this up. We're going to get that later. See if we can get a wasteland. See, they might show me God knows what, but I want to look at a wasteland. See, this is a wasteland. When the earth and the ground is cursed. Right? When the earth and the ground is cursed. And the Most High said in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 that the earth is going to wax old, man. Paraphrasing it. And it's going to be covered over with thorns and bushes. And 2nd Ezra 5, it says the earth is going to be wasted again. So you got to think about this, man. The scarcity of food, water, trying to survive. Here you are, once were the sons of God, now exiled, man. Right? Now exiled. So let's go back to Genesis 5. I'm going to go back to where I left off. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 29. And he called his name Noah. Now remember, Noah in the Hebrew is Nawak, which means comfort or rest. This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahweh WATCHMEN hath cursed. And remember, that goes back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, right? Let me go back to that. That ground was cursed. That goes back to Genesis 3, right? Genesis chapter 3 and verse 17 again. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. You see that? So thorns and thistles, that's a tough life right there, man. And the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. And we know that now, man. You got brothers that work in warehouses. You got brothers that unload trucks. You know, you got guys that have these hard jobs, man. You know, they go to work, they leave, their t-shirt is sweating. They got damn PPE on a goggles, and they sweating because they got to move big things around. They damn jacking up the pallet jack, man. Moving the big equipment for Esau, picking up stuff and sliding boxes. So, Jake, you kind of go through this now, man. Right? So if you want to know what they was going through, you go through it. We go through it. And the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return to the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and into dust shalt thou return. You see that? Now, there's a clip in that movie Noah. I just thought about it. If you've seen that movie Noah, not the best movie, right? That's my review with Russell Crowe, right? For brothers that don't know, let's see. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's not the best movie. There's a lot of, they're just adding stuff in there, right? They just add stuff in there that doesn't belong in there. They had Tubal Cain fighting against Noah. Now, we don't know if Tubal Cain was fighting against Noah. And first of all, Noah wasn't a so-called white man. Right? Now, in this movie, one of the things that I remember, I saw this years ago, was that Salakia, what was I going into? Oh, the ground. So when you had the ground cursed, and they were what is the word I'm looking for? Foraging for berries, man. And just looking for any little thing to eat. Because of the ground that was cursed. And when you really watch it, the sons of the wicked actually approached unto Methuselah. I believe Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah, I can't quite remember, but they approached them and said, and they started cursing out the Most High. I believe Lamech checked them and told them, hey, look, that's off. You can't murder. You can't do this. God told you not to do this. And one of the sons of the wicked says, who's God, man? He has forsaken the earth, and now the earth is just corrupt, man. So they tried to put that imagery out there of the earth being a wasteland, essentially, and the ground being cursed. Right? So let's go back to this. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 30. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And that's a mighty age right there. You lived 777. And he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Noah didn't have his first son until he was around 500, man. Imagine that. He had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Let's go to Genesis, the 6th chapter. Right? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis chapter 6 and 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now, here's when people lose their mind. This is where Greek mythology, Esau's mentality comes into your mind, fables, lewdness, right? Just all manner of just false doctrine. What is this talking about? What does this mean when the Most High said, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth? Which is common sense, because the more people you have, the more they're going to multiply. Families are being born, sons are being born, daughters are being born, men are living longer. So now you have a rapid increase of men, and you have daughters that are born, right, unto these men. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and took them wives of all which they chose. Now, I'm going to just come outright and just say that this is not talking about angels coming down to have sex with women. I'm going to say it again, and I may say it one more time, maybe one more time after that, man. 3, even 4 times. When it says that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, it's not talking about angels looking down from the third heaven, peeking through the clouds, rubbing their mittens, man. Oh, damn, you see that one right there? Cat calling a woman, man. Hey, your head wrap. Hey, your head wrap. You know how Jake do, man. Hey, your red dress. By the oxen. And then they come down and the angel kind of, I've been kind of seeing you walk by. I had my eyes on you. And then the woman say, "Who, me? You had your eyes on me?" Yeah, I've been kind of noticing you. Well, what did you notice? And then the angels start running game, huh? Is that what happened? Did the angels come down and start rubbing up their mittens and and running game on the daughters of men? No, it's not what happened. Right? And then the angel kind of came in, and the angel was talking to the woman, and the woman kind of, she started getting enticed by the angel, and the angel kind of kissed her on the forehead, man. And then the woman kind of started blushing, and then the angel said, "Look, I ain't never really met a woman like you, man." And then the woman go inside, then the angel kind of stand outside and say, "Look, I just want to come in and talk." right? He said, Nina, I just want to come in and talk. Is that what happened? No, we have to understand that you have two different types of sons of God. You have sons of God that deal with men, and you have sons. When I say deal with men, you have sons of God that are classified as men, and you have sons of God that are angels. First, let's show you that this is not talking about angels, right? Because first of all, the angel, well, let me say this. In order to make somebody your wife, you got to lay down with them, right? Let's get that in the book of Exodus. You got to lay down with them, man. When I say lay down with them, you have to have sex in the course, if you can understand, right? Exodus chapter 22 and 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife, right? He shall surely endow her to be his wife. So in order to impregnate a woman, you have to have seed. Now, angels don't have seed. Angels are spirits. They don't have seed. They don't have, I'm gonna just have to be just real. They don't have testicles. They don't have stones. They don't have a rod. The angels are not circumcised the 8th day. They don't get high blood pressure. They don't feel pain. They don't have what we have. They don't have flesh and blood. They're spirits. Let's get that in Psalms, right? Chapter 104. Right, let's go to Psalms chapter 104. Right? So if the angel could deal with a woman, that means the angel would be unclean, man. Then he got to wash himself when the sun go down. He got to, where is that happening at? The angel kind of, okay, I got to wash myself. You got to wash this, the sun going down, and you got to kind of get right. And then let's pray into the Most High. You know, that's not happening. Psalms chapter 104, and we're going to show you where that came from. Psalms chapter 104 and 4. Who make his angel spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So the angels are spirits. Yes, they can come down in the form of a man. But when they come down in the form of a man, they don't have the same bodily nature and physiology of a man. They don't have hormones. They don't have an endocrine system. They don't have a skeletal system. They come down in their form and their spirits, but they look like men. Right? Or they look like whoever the Most High want them to look like, man. Now, with that being said, I want to get this precept in the book of Tobit. Let's go to Tobit, because a beautiful encounter between a man and an angel is with Tobias and Raphael. Right? Let's go to the book of Tobit, the 12th chapter. First, let's go to Tobit chapter 6. All right, let's go to the book of Tobit, the 6th chapter. I'm going to show you this about these angels. Right? Angels are not sex and women, man. That goes back to Greek mythology and the book of Enoch. Right? Now this is let's see. Tobit chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Tobit 6 and 5. So the young man did as the angel commanded him. And when they had roasted the fish, they did eat it. Then they both went on their way till they drew near the Ectabon. So did the angel really eat this fish? Right? Did it go down into his stomach, and then his stomach had to kind of digest it? Then he had to kind of break it down. Then the angel said, "Oh, we gotta go." Right? Gotta go. Where's the angel? Angel went to go use the bathroom, and he got up. No, man. The angel didn't really eat this fish. What these spirits can do is they could put you in a trance. They could put you in an illusion, for lack of better terms. The Most High could do these things, man. He has angels that can literally put you in another dimension in your mind and make you see things that's not there. Make you feel things that's not there. The Lord sent angels to beat up Heliodorus in Second Maccabees, the 3rd chapter. Now let's prove that this angel didn't actually eat this, because the text says they did eat. Right? But when you read on in this same account, we're going to go to the book of Tobit, right? We're going to stay in here in Tobit, the 12th chapter. Let's not play any games. We're not going to beat around the bush, right? Tobit chapter 12 and verse 19. All the days I did appear unto you. This is what the angel said. But I did neither eat nor drink, but ye did see a vision. You see that? I didn't eat or drink. But you, one may say, well, what about manna? Isn't that angels' food? Angels' bread? What about the angels' bread? Angels' meat? Brother, that just means it came from the Most High. Or it came from the heavens. That's all it's talking about. It doesn't mean the angels are up there getting hungry, man. Eating a deep dish. Or stuffed crust. Or dinosaur nuggets, man. They're not up there eating hoagies. There's no bread up there with them. Okay, angel, come in line. You got another angel with a hairnet on. And how much do you want? And the angel got his tray out in the third heaven and slop the slop on it. Give him a little bit of bread. Then the angel look at it and ask for more. Then the other one put another lump on there. Then the angel go back and he's looking for somewhere to sit. But all of the Michael and Raphael, they're sitting at this table. He don't want to sit there. So he kind of go over here, but he sees Satan over there. So he kind of take his tray and he sit by himself. But then Gabriel say, come. No, that's not what's going on, man. There's no cafeteria in the third heaven. Right? Let me read this again. Tobit chapter 12 and 19. All these days I did appear unto you, but I did neither eat nor drink, but ye did see a vision. Right? So they don't move how men move. Right? Now, that's why we find it hard to believe. And the Bible backs that up, that these angels aren't dealing with the same bodily functions as men. Let's go to the book of Luke, the 24th chapter. All right, let's go to St. Luke chapter 24. All right, St. Luke chapter 24. Because here's what Yahweh Shah said. All right, I want to get this account. Luke chapter 24 and verse 39. This is what Yahweh Shah told the apostles, right? Behold my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Handle me and see me. For a spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. So that's plain. So if the angels are spirits, they don't have flesh and bones, which means they don't have sperm. They don't have testicles. They don't get an erection, right? They can't, they don't, I just have to put it like that. You may say, hold on, I can kind of be in. Well, we have to be thorough and transparent because a brother will read Genesis 6 and think an angel was having sex with a woman, man. And that is not the case at all. Because angels are spirits and a spirit doesn't have flesh and bones. That's plain. Plain. Now, why would the angel come down from the third heaven and look at a woman and get aroused, man? First of all, the angels, when they up there in the third heaven, they're shaking, they're trembling. They're not moving unless the Most High say move, man. There's no rebellion. There's no dark counsels and murmuring in the third heaven. I don't like the way the Most High made man. If I had to make man, then I would make man on the 8th day. I don't know why he keep doing this. There's no murmuring going on up there. Everything's in order. Let's go to Job chapter 25. Right? Let's get that. Let's prove that in the scriptures. Job, the 25th chapter. So we have to kind of break, like I said, I may have to do a series on this because there's a lot I want to get into with this Genesis chapter 6. Job 25 and 1. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, dominion and fear are with him. Who's the him? The Most High. He maketh peace in his high places. So the Most High established peace in his high places. In the third heaven, there's order, structure. Does not the Lord's Prayer say, thy will be done in heaven as it is in earth? So if there is chaos in the third heaven or confusion and madness in the third heaven, then that means his will on the earth will be the exact same thing. No, there's order in the heaven, peace in the third heaven. It's like your peace in the third heavens, right? And that same will is going to be wrought in the earth in due time. Now, there's another thing we want to get into. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 103. Right? Because then you say, well, these angels went off and they rebelled. And I'm going to show you where that came from. Psalms chapter 103 and verse 20. Bless the Lord, yea, his angels, that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. So remember, the Most High has even evil angels up there. And the evil angels, they obey the Most High. The righteous angels, they obey the Most High. Right? All of these spirits, they do his commandments. There's no account of the Most High said, look, I need you to go down there and protect that Israelite from the Philistine. And the angel kind of like, look, man, I ain't doing it. Right? I ain't really feeling that right now. Then the Most High got to beg the angel, come on, look, man, just do me this one solid. Can you do me just one? Then the angel kind of say, well, look, I mean, what you want to give me? Then the Most High take out heavenly money and kind of throw him a few dollars, and the angel kind of flip through the money and count it and say, all right, I'll see what I can do. Then he go down on the earth, man. No, the angels, they fear and they tremble, right? Let's go to James chapter 2 and 19. James chapter 2. Let me get 3 precepts on that, just to kind of solidify that point, right? James 2 and 19. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. So you believe in the Most High. Devils believe in the Most High. Man doesn't tremble at the Most High. Man is wicked. They'll just freak off. These devils fear God more than man. Demons, they submit to the will of the Lord, man. So why would a demon or an angel look down and kind of, look at that one right there, man. Man, give me one. They're not thinking about that, man, because they're too busy trembling up there in the third heaven. They're too busy. They're programmed. Too busy being programmed by the Most High. 2nd Ezra chapter 8. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 8th chapter. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 8, and I believe that's, let's see, 21, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Kind of 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and 21. All praises. It reads, whose throne is inestimable, whose glory may not be comprehended, before whom the host of angels stand with trembling. So that's the exact same thing in James 2 and 19. All of the angels stand before the Lord and they're trembling. They're shaking. Even these spirits, man. A lot of people say, man, I want to just go up and talk to the Most High. Man, I know your flesh would corrupt itself. At the glory of the Lord, you would just disintegrate. You'll be pulverized. The Most High said he beats people into powder. It says, who will not be utterly beaten into powder? Yahweh Shah says he's the cornerstone that will grind you into powder. What makes you think you can just come up before the Most High? There are angels up there that are trembling right now. You know? Now, let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus. All right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39 and 28. Right? I just want to nail it home. We're going to bring it home that angels from all different spirits, I was going to say walks of life, right? But all different spirits, they all obey the Most High. Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. So you have certain angels that are created for payback. When you go off, this angel is created to kill you. The Most High said in Psalms chapter 78 and 49, he sends evil angels. He sent them amongst the Israelites. He's in the wilderness, and he sent those evil angels amongst the Egyptians. And Psalm 78 and 49. So you have spirits created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So if you're looking at Cali right now, right? You got cyclones, flooding, madness going on. In other parts of the earth, you got famines, you have earthquakes, you have mudslides, you have lightning strikes. All of these things are being done by the Most High, by these angels who have been charged to, for lack of better terms, manipulate the elements and force the hand of the Lord, right, against man, because man is wicked. Fire and hell, famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, people getting bit by pit bulls, people getting attacked by crocodiles and alligators, scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when this time has come, they shall not transgress his word. When it's time for evil angels to take orders, they do not sin. They do not transgress his word. They follow the will of the Most High. Now, when you go, this goes back to the book of Enoch, right? In Genesis, the 6th chapter, when he talk about fallen angels having sex with women, that goes back to the book of Enoch, right? Now I'm going to open up the book of Enoch, right? Now, if you're a man and you don't have to uncover your head when we in the book of Enoch, you got, the book of Enoch coming up. Let me grab my head wrap. It's garbage, right? It's garbage. You don't have to, let me cover myself up for the book of Enoch. It's madness, man. Now, if this is the book of Enoch, the so-called 6th chapter, right? The fall of angels from chapter 6 through chapter 11, the demoralization of mankind, the intercession of the angels on the behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels, and the messianic kingdom. See, the Most High put doom on the angels. Right? Where is that at? When the Most High pronounces doom on the angels. That's why you have to, when we tell you get away from the book of Enoch, stay away from the book of Joshua, stay away from the book of Jubilees, stay away from the pseudepigrapher in general, the testament of Adam and Eve, the apocalypse of Saint Mary, the hidden journeys of Ruth the Moabitess, man. The dark sayings of Jethro, right? You abstain from those books, man. All right, this is let's see, book of Enoch, chapter 6 and 1, right? Now listen to this. You better not be getting enticed as we read this, man. Right? A lot of brothers, that's the book of Enoch. It's garbage. And we're going to show you that it's nothing but trash. Right? This is Enoch chapter 6 and 1. So-called chapter 6 and so-called chapter 1. And let me make one more point before I read this. Just because something has old English in it and it's worded with the same vernacular as the Bible, you hear thou and thus, and that doesn't mean it's part of the scriptures, man. Any man can say, and it came to pass when Naquan began to be mighty on the earth, that the Most High humbled him and put him and made him live like a beast. And even thus shall it be unto all flesh alike. Nevertheless, on the 5th day, and you can just make it anything, man. You can use all those different words. And you can put a story together. And it came to pass when the Lord appeared unto Moab by night, that the Lord said unto Moab, O Moab, where art thou? And Moab trembled exceedingly. And Moab said, Here I am, Lord, here I am. And the Lord said unto Moab, Hast thou really entreated for thy mother, who laid down with thy father? And Moab says, I knew not. So you can do a whole story. And that's what they did with the book of Enoch. You can make a whole story about the hidden revelations of Moab after the cave, man. Where he has to entreat for his mother, man, on behalf of her lewdness. And the Most High told Moab, Thou shalt travel unto the land east of Israel. And when thou get there, thou shalt cut down the barley tree. And once thou cuts down the barley tree, surely thou will prevail. And Moab did so. And Moab waxed exceeding great in the fear of the Lord. right? And it came to pass when Moab began to wax old that he encountered Ammon, his brother. And Ammon said it to, so again, I'm just putting that out there because when you read the book of Enoch and these other books, they're worded the exact same way. It's just a fable. It's just a story, man. Like when those guys sit around in the campfire and they kind of put the flashlight on a cold, dark night. And it's a fable, man. Let's get the book of Second Peter real quick. Right? It's nothing but a fable. We don't take it serious, right? It's completely comical, man, when you read it. 2 Peter chapter 1 and 16. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables, when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. Right? So they didn't have to make up a story about Yahweh Shah because they saw him in the flesh. They were eyewitnesses. So I want to read this in Enoch chapter 6 and 1. And it came to pass. You see that? And it came to pass. Just because it says and it came to pass doesn't mean it's holy. Anybody can write and it came to pass. Right? See the brother put on here the book of Peter and his in-laws. Right? Hey, Jacob looked that up and buy it, man. And it came to pass when the well, I tell you the truth, man. When the children of men had multiplied that in those days. So I multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, see now they went off because the Bible don't say the angels. The Bible says the sons of God. But whoever made this, they didn't have any understanding. You know, they approached this with some type of Christian mindset, huh? They didn't understand that the Israelites are also called the sons of God. So they was on a low level. Whoever wrote the book of Enoch, they're on a low level. If you believe in the book of Enoch, you are also on a very, very low level. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw them and lusted after them. Right? Let me pull up the definition of lust. All right. Let's see. Lust. Okay. The angels had a very strong sexual desire. Like we already brought up, right? In order to have a sexual desire, you have to have hormones. Right? In order to have hormones, you have to have an endocrine system where your body produces these chemicals. You understand serotonin and endorphins and all of these different things. You have to have a physical makeup to actually lust, man. The angels weren't up there lusting. Let's go back to this. So the angels saw them and lusted after them and said one to another. And if this happened, where was the Most High at when this happened? Let me go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1. Right? Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1. If that happened, where was the Lord at, man? Right? Because the Most High said in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 1 and verse, oh, this whole chapter is good. I'm going to start at verse 9. I'm going to start at 8. Therefore, he that speaketh unrighteous things cannot be hid. So if you're speaking about having a wicked counsel to lay down with women, the Most High would have heard that. If you're speaking unrighteous things, the Most High hears that, and he's going to bring it to light or just destroy you. Right? Then he's going to bring it to light or bring it to light, then destroy you. Neither shall vengeance, when it punisheth, pass by him. For inquisition shall be made into the counsels of the ungodly, and the sound of his words shall come unto the Lord for the manifestation of his wicked deeds. So the Most High hears wicked dark counsels and all types of murmuring and backbiting. The Most High hears that, man. For the ear of jealousy heareth all things, and the noise of murmurings is not hid. So the Most High hears that. So if the Lord, you're in the third heaven, about to have a dark counsel, The Most High, it's an understatement for us to say that he hears that, man. So here's what these angels said. Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men and beget children. And Simjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered. So he pretty much said, hey, look, y'all don't really want to do this, man. I want to do it, but y'all not really about it. So they kind of said, hold on, we are about it. So here's what these angels said. Let us all swear an oath and bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. They said, hey, look, if you win, we all in. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it, and they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. Right? So this is nothing but wickedness, man. Then it gives you all of the angels that went off that they made up. The chief, these are the chiefs of 10. So I said you gotta watch out for those that so-called biblical vernacular, man. These are the chiefs of 10. You like, wow, are these really? No, these aren't the chiefs of 10, because this never happened. Now, when you go to chapter 7, this is where this came from, right? It came from the book of Enoch. Or I'll put it like this, the understanding of it came from the book of Enoch. Right? Let's go to chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each one chose for himself. And they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them, and taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare giants whose height was 3 ells. Right? Now, if you look up 3,000 ells, they say that there were giants that were 3,000 ells high, 3,000 ells tall. Let's type in how tall is an ell. Right? Okay, they say 37 inches. Some say 45. A lot of them say 45, right? The English unit of the length of an L is 45 inches. Right? The length of the arm to the shoulder. So let's say 45. Some numbers you get are a little bit different, but let's say it's 45 inches. Right? So if you do the math, these angels, according to the book of Enoch, are 3,000 ells. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but we would have to multiply 45 times 3,000, right? Let's pull up a calculator. 45. Okay, hold on now. 45 times 3,000. And this would be, if I'm doing that math right. If I'm not doing that math right, then somebody let me know. Well, that's inches. Okay, 45. Right? If that's the right math, like I said, I'm not a mathematician. 45 times 3,000. Or you divide. Somebody said you divide. Right? So the Lord, or the text says there are 3,000 ells. Right? 3,000 ells. So that would mean that's 3,000 45 inches. So again, that's 13 or really 135,000 inches. Right? That would have to be 135,000 inches. All right. Somebody could put the answer on the comment board, right? Put it on the comment board and we'll just move on. Right? Put it on the comment board. You get the answer. It's 135,000 inches, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do inches to feet. right? Let's see, inches to feet. Okay, 135. See that? If that's accurate, then it's saying that these giants were all over 10,000 feet tall. Right? Over 10,000 feet tall. Some say 4,500 feet tall. All right, so nevertheless, that's an outrageous height. And that's why people, when they see that word giant, they get taken aback, man. And they start thinking about Jack and the Beanstalk. And they start thinking about, 100 feet tall, 200 feet tall. 3,000 L, that's ridiculous, man. You mean to tell me a woman impregnated somebody or got impregnated by somebody, then they grew up to be over, anywhere between 4,500 to 10,000 feet tall? 10,000 feet? That's why we got to stop the madness. When you see that word, we're going to go back to that word giant too. Right? It reads, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Right? So now they're saying the giants began to eat men, eat women, right? Eat plants. That's that Jack and the Beanstalk spirit, man, the big angry giant. There's no way in hell that you have 10,000 feet vessels, man, just walking on the earth. So let's go back to Genesis chapter 6. So let's really break this down. When the Lord said the sons of God saw the daughters of men, he's speaking about the lineage of Seth. When you go from Seth to Enos to Canaan, you're like the brother said, Cyclops, man, or Jack and the Beanstalk, or the Green Giant. Let's see, Jack and the Beanstalk, right? That fee, fi, fo, fum spirit, man. So, you let a lot of people let Esau pervert their understanding of the Bible. You've been conditioned from a child to think that when you see the word giant, it's talking about somebody 10,000 feet tall. Look at this. This is what the book of Enoch teaches you. We're going to show you that the Bible teaches you otherwise. All right. The big angry giant spirit, man. Let's go into who else is that? Yeah, like the brother says, Cyclops, man. Cyclops was a giant, a one-eyed giant. Look at this. That's why whoever wrote the book of Enoch was a fervent fan of Greek mythology. Because really only Esau puts that out there. Esau, he deals with these spirits because his gods, let me put it like this. The so-called white man gods like to come down and have sex with women. Zeus would do that, man. So they want to try to superimpose their lewd understanding of God into the Bible and teach that to man. So now when you think about giants, and you've been conditioned by Esau, man. Now you're thinking of Cyclops, Jack and the Beanstalk, because that's what Esau's so-called gods would do. The angels don't move like that, man. Right? If you look up Zeus coming down, I'm just winging it in the spirit, coming down and having children. I'll just type it like that. Right? These so-called gods will commit adultery. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. He will have. Let me see. Who did Zeus have children with? Yeah, he would actually come down. I'm not going to go into all of this, but he would actually, look at this. He slept with his own daughter. Why? Because she was there. Right? Because that's what Esau's into, man. Their gods are into incest. You know, their gods are into coming down and having sex with a woman. See that? He came down, impregnated, and had 100 children. Some of them were gods, goddesses. Some became great leaders. So you got to think about when you read Genesis chapter 6 and that Christian understanding, this is where they get it from. From Zeus coming down and their gods coming down and laying down with women. But again, they want to superimpose that false understanding into the Bible and make a doctrine out of it. But we understand that this is not that complex. It's quite simple. Now, when the Lord says the sons of God, that's speaking about the sons of Seth and Enos. In the previous chapter, it actually lists the sons of God, right? But I'm going to go to Genesis chapter 11. Right? Let's go to Genesis, the 11th chapter. Salakia. Okay, Genesis chapter 11. Okay, I'll do 5 because I forgot that starts at our facts fad. All right. Our facts ad and Shem. But Genesis chapter 5 is a beautiful chapter that covers that, right? Genesis chapter 5 and verse 6. And Seth begot Enos and lived 105 years and begot Salakia. Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos. And Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Seth were 912 years and he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begot Canaan. And Enos lived after we got Canaan 815 years and begot sons and daughters. All the days of Enos were 905 years and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and begot Mahalalel. So all of these men are the sons of God and their sons and daughters, or really their sons after them, right? Canaan lived after he begot Mahalalel 840 years and begot sons and daughters. All of these sons that came from these men, like Enos had sons along with the chosen son. Seth had sons. See that? Seth begat sons and daughters, but Enos was his chosen son. There's always a chosen. Mahalalel, just Genesis 5 and 16, lived after he begot Jared 830 years and begot sons and daughters. Jared is the chosen son. These are his other sons. All these sons are the sons of God. The sons of God are also goes down to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. Those are the sons of God, man. Let's go to the book of Hosea. Actually, let's go to 1 John chapter 3. All right, let's go to 1 John, the 3rd chapter. Right, to prove that that entire lineage, all the way from Seth, or really Adam, to the 12 tribes, those are the sons of God, right? 1 John 3 and 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of the Most High. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. So it's a manner of love, a high manner of love, for us who were once wicked men in the earth to now be called the sons of God. Right? That's plain. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 18th chapter. Let's get about 2 more precepts to prove that the sons of God is not always talking about angels, because angels can't come down and lay up with women. Right? In pillow talk. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 to 13. For whereas they would not believe anything by reason of the enchantments upon the destruction of the firstborn, they acknowledged this people to be the sons of God. So the Egyptians didn't believe any of the plagues. When the Most High killed the firstborn, he said, these people are the sons of God. Even the Egyptians knew that another nation of people were the sons of God. Let's go to Hosea chapter 1. Hosea chapter 1. All right, I want to go to Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are what? Ye are the sons of the living God. So Babylon the Great, whether you live in Jamaica, whether you live in England, whether you live in France or Germany, and these places of captivity, we weren't called the Most High's people. We were called bywords and proverbs, right? Nevertheless, the Most High said in that exact same place, when you put his spirit on us, we are going to be called the sons of the living God. Now, Genesis chapter 6, that's dealing with man. Men saw the daughters of men. The daughters of men are a woman of the other nations. Just like now, what's your modern day daughters of men? The Moabite woman, the Edomite woman, the Ammonite woman, the Cushite woman, the Martazian woman or the Egyptian woman, the woman of foot, right? The Japhetic woman, the Ishmaelite woman, the Elamite woman. Those are all now your modern day daughters of men. Because we're gods on the earth and they are men. So their daughters are the offspring of another bloodline. Right now, as time progresses, the Most High calls them the children of men. They're also known as the children of men. Right, Salakia. Let's go to Psalms chapter 53. Right, they're called the daughters of men or the children of men. Psalms chapter 53 and 1. The Most High looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand, that did seek the Most High. So the Most High is looking upon the other nations and saying, look, is there anybody that fears the Lord amongst the Edomites, amongst the Moabites, amongst the Hamites, amongst the Japhites? Every one of them is going back. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. So there's no such thing as a good heathen, because the Most High told you so. They are called the children of men. You have the children of God, you have the children of men, right? And you have the children of the wicked. Those are your three main groups of men, right? You had the sons of God, that chosen bloodline of Adam. You had the children of men, which are the other nations, and you had the children of the wicked, which were the sons of Cain, and their daughters and their sons. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one. So Adam came from the Most High. Seth came from the Most High, made in his image. Cain was made in the image of the wicked one. Who's the wicked one? Satan. So Cain, Enoch, and all of his sons, I'm talking about Enoch on the left-hand side. All of those sons are the sons of the wicked. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. See that? So you have the sons of the wicked. Anybody that come from that bloodline of Cain, they are classified as the sons of the wicked. You can read about those men in Genesis, the 4th chapter. So now we understand that you had the daughters of, you could have had the daughters of God, the daughters of the wicked, and the daughters of men. The sons of God, the sons of the wicked, and the sons of men. Same thing. So the sons of God saw the daughters of men. I'll give you another example of that. Let's go to 1 Ezra chapter 8 and 69. Right? Or I can go to Ezra, the 9th chapter. Let's see which one I want. Let's go to 1 Ezra chapter 8 and 69. Let's give you an example of that. It reads, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and the Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land, because they were marrying these children of men. The sons of God in 1 Ezra chapter 8 and 69 were marrying the daughters of men and then put them away. Genesis chapter 6 is not some far off event that only happened at one time. It's happening right now. The sons of God are always taking the daughters of men. The rapper Jeezy, he's dealing with a Moabite woman, man. You know, that's one of the sons of God dealing with the daughters of men. Let me pull that up. Let's see, Jeezy and his woman. Right? You see that? This is Genesis chapter 6. This is 1 Ezra 8. I mean, this is all throughout the Bible, man. We have always been commanded not to deal with the daughters of men. Look at this. Right? Let's see. Black men enter, right, racial couple. Let's see if we can get, right? See that? The sons of God dealing with the daughters of men. Same thing, Ray, with so-called Jeezy. See that? Now that one, she got a dashiki on. Tell you the truth. Look at this. Sons of God and the daughters of men. The daughters of God with the sons of men. Here's the reverse, right? The daughters of the Most High with the children of men, or the children of the wicked. Sons of God with the children of the wicked. Look at this. Unbelievable. Right? So that's what Genesis chapter 6 is going into. The sons of God during that time laying up with these women, man, or these other nations. Back in 1 Ezra chapter 8 and 69. The nation of Israel, princes, the priests, and the Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. Both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed. Jake don't know you have a holy seed. Is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity. So you had top mighty men laying up with these women. This is really a great example of Genesis, the 6th chapter, but in great detail. Let's see how Ezra felt when he saw the sons of God dealing with the daughters of men. And as soon as I heard these things, I rent my clothes and the holy garment and pulled off the hair from off my head and beard and sat down sad and was very heavy. So all they that were moved, it's like it. So all they that were then moved at the word of the Lord God of Israel assembled unto me, whilst I mourned for the iniquity, but I sat still full of heaviness until the evening sacrifice. So it's a big deal, man, when the sons of God are dealing with the daughters of men. It's not a light matter. It's actually wicked. Now there's this new trend. I'm not sure if brother saw it, but it's these Edomite women. They're saying that I breed black. I'm black bred. Let me see if I can pull that one up. Let's see. Black bread. So now they're boasting that they have been impregnated by Jake. See that? Black bread trend. It's a trend. how so-called white women on Instagram are profiting off of Jake, man. You know, this is an actual trend. White girl, black bread, 1.8 billion views. Black bread trend. Breeding black. So you're mingling your holy seed with devils and dogs. That's why Ezra sat down astonished. That's why the Most High brought in the flood, man. Same thing as Samson did. Let me get that in Judges chapter 14. Bro, let's go to Judges chapter 14. Judges chapter 14 and verse 1. Here's Genesis chapter 6 and 1 explained again. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman on Timnath of the daughter of the Philistines. Sons of God saw the daughters of men. And he came up and he told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, get her for me to wife. So that's how Jake was moving during the time of Judges, during the time of Ezra, now in this world, and chiefly during the time of Noah, right? They were dealing with these daughters of these heathen, man. Now, the Most High told you not to deal with them because they're going to turn you away from following him, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me. Right? If you're dealing with a Moabite woman, it's only a matter of time before you're eating of her food. She's holding that, oh, you never try my food. She's just holding that up over your head, man. You never eat what I eat. You never want to go to the temple of Buddha. You don't want to dress up like the Shaolin monks. You don't love me. Okay, all right. Hey, give me a plate. I'm gonna need some hot sauce for that. Man, okay. And she give you the damn food, man. All right, I'm gonna eat a little bit. Now you're eating God knows what, man. Creepy crawling things. Now you're being turned away from the Most High because you're dealing with these women, man, or these other nations. If you got a righteous Israelite sister, how's she going to turn you away from the Most High? She's going to be serving the Most High. That's what the Most High said. Don't deal with these heathen women. Now, we had times when you kind of took them captive, you kind of dealt with them, but you kind of did it in moderation. And you had to have some self-control. And you couldn't be falling in love with those women like that, man. They were your concubines. They served their purpose. You kind of moved on, man. But a lot of those men, they kind of fell in love. What they say? They start catching feelings, man. And they start marrying them and having kids with them and raising families with them. Eating of their foods, bowing down to their gods, teaching their children that the language of their mother. That whole account is explained in Nehemiah. Read the book of Nehemiah. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The Lord said they couldn't even speak the Hebrew. Half of them speak the language of the Moabites. Half of them speak the Philistine language of Ashdod, man. It was a big deal, and it's always a big deal to the day of the Lord. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 6. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and took them wives of all which they chose. So that's not talking about angels coming down and lusting after women, like it tells you in the nasty, wicked book of Enoch, chapter 6, verse 1 through 6, or chapter 7, 1 through 6. Right? That's what the so-called book of Enoch tells you. And it just gets worse. Right? It gets worse. That's why we don't deal with the book of Enoch, man. So let's close these out. Jake get enticed. All right. Genesis chapter 6 and 3. Now think about it. If these were angels that did this, Why would the next verse say this? Genesis chapter 6 and 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So the Most High said, hold on now. He said he didn't want his spirit to strive with man. How come the Most High wasn't mad at the angels? How come he didn't say, the Lord said, I am wroth with all of the wicked angels, the 10 of the chief ones. My spirit shall not strive with the wicked angels that departed from me. My spirit shall not strive with the chief angel who made an oath during the days of Jared. Where's the angels that went off? How come? Where's the charge on the angels? If the angels went off, show me the account of the Most High getting mad at the angels. Why would he flood the earth? Shouldn't he just punish the angels? Kind of send them to hell? For people that believe in that? And there's no actual place called hell, but that's what they teach. The angels are bound up in hell. There's no account of the Most High charging the angels with sin. Now, there's a scripture in Job that says the Most High charged the angels with folly, but that's not literal. It doesn't mean the angels up there being a damn fool. That verse is used to magnify the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. He's so great that even the angels look like fools to the Most High. The Lord said the weakness of God is stronger than men. In 1 Corinthians, the first chapter. And the foolishness of God is wiser than men. Does that mean the Most High is a fool? No. So certain things are written in dramatic fashion. They're called idioms or hyperboles, if you can understand. They're just parts of speech. So that's what that explains that in Job, right? When the Most High charges angels with folly. Now, the Most High said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, because he was mad at what man did. Just like Ezra was mad at what man did. Like Samson's father was mad at him. Like we're mad when we see Jake laying up with an Edomite or a Moabite. Or at the harbor, we see Jake dealing with a damn Elamite, man. We get mad. And we don't want to always strive with man. Sometimes we let them kind of walk by. Sometimes we can't help it. We just get on them, man. Sometimes we try to teach them to separate. So we understand Genesis chapter 6 and 3 because we see it every day. And especially you brothers that go out on the highways and byways, you understand exactly what this verse is talking about. My spirit shall not always strive with man. You know, that means, look, you don't want to deal with it like that. You don't want to deal with man. That's like you having somebody in your house and you always butting heads with them and they living with you. You don't want to strive with them forever. You're going to get rid of them, man. They may be staying with you for 2 years. Hey, look, I'm down bad on my feet. Look, I'm trying to get a job, trying to get myself together. Can I stay with you for 2 years? You say yes. Look, you just pay rent, pay the bill, just take trash out, kind of do this. But now y'all kind of getting into it. He leaving food everywhere. He bringing people all in the house. He making noise. You got to go to work in the morning. He just laying up. He looking at your woman. Y'all keep going back and forth. Eventually, you're going to be like, look, I'm not about to keep striving with you, man. I'm going to cut your time short. Instead of you staying here 2 years, you got 1 week. Pack your stuff or and find a job or whatever. But you got 1 week to get out. So we understand this. Don't let Esau's perversion of Zeus and his Greek gods pervert your mind about what the scriptures are talking about. The Most High is mad at man, and rightfully so. Let's read this again, Genesis chapter 6 and 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. So the Most High turned down, for lack of better terms, your clock, your biological clock. Right? Salakia. The Most High turned down the biological clock. So he can do that, man. Man there's no exact number, but we like to say 1,000, Lord willing 1,000. It could have been more. We don't know. But man used to live a great number of years. Maybe 1,000 years, maybe so. Then the Most High kind of turned it down, saying, nah, I can't keep that. Y'all so wicked. I don't want y'all living that long. Let me kind of turn that down a little bit. Let me give y'all 120. Now, does that mean it literally stopped at 120? No. But now that's the Most High beginning to kind of break man down. And then it went from 120 to 100, and then from 100 to 80, then 80 to 70. Now, if you look up the life expectancy of man, I wonder what country they're going to give me. Okay, Babylon, 74 years, right? 74 years in America. Now, I know Americans, they don't live as long as other people due to their diet and ignorance and sedentary lifestyle. Women live about 80, they say. You know, they say she should be saved in childbearing. Now, in 2 Timothy 2:15 on down. So the point of the matter is this lines directly up with the Bible. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 90. And again, I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this. I'm going to have to do a part 2. Because this is going to have to be a series covering what's going on with Noah and the flood. Right now, we're breaking down the angels, kind of dealing with giants. You know, I want to deal with the Nephilim. I want to deal with it all, man. Lord willing, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiyah. Psalms chapter 90 and verse 10. I'm going to start at 9. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. So man has a short life, man. You're here today, going tomorrow. Time flies, man. You know, you blink twice. They say like when you in damn high school, you blink twice. Now you damn 35. You look back like, damn, I was just damn 17, 16. Now I'm 41. What happened? You got people trying to go back and live that life like they was young. You got old people that still want to dress young because life is too short for them, man. They're trying to kind of put back time by putting on that old gear and looking at the photo album and, oh, I used to be this guy, and watching the highlight tapes, and because life is short, man. And man doesn't want to be they want to be here longer, but it's not up to you, man. The Most High wants you out of here because you're off. You don't want to put up with your madness, man. So we got to kind of turn that clock off, or down rather, and make you to be about 90. Now you got some people the Most High had lived to be like 100, maybe 110 or so, but they ain't too much of a life to live. And this captivity, man. And these people that's 90 years old, man, they hooked up to a breathing machine. They got a tube down their throat. Somebody's chewing up their food and spitting it in their mouth and feeding it to them. So they're not really living the life, man. Somebody's changing their diaper. They got to use the bathroom in a pan. They hold that big trumpet to their ear because they can't hear what you're saying. They have Alzheimer's. They're stuttering. Their mouth get real crusty. They get all wrinkled up. They lose their teeth. They get shorter. Their bones become more frail. They get rheumatoid arthritis, dementia, liver spots. They can't move. Bedridden, wheelchair, life alert. Your family don't visit you. They don't call you. They don't check on you. You know? So it ain't too much of a life to live, man. You know, past 70 or so. Start taking, like we always say, that Monday through Friday pill box, man. Once you start taking that Monday through Friday pill box, you better start counting your days. If you're about 70 or so, right? Now, the most I can have you live longer, but this is the Bible. Psalms 90 and 10. The days of our years are 70 years and 10, meaning 70. Right? A score is 20. So if you have 3 score, that's 3 times 20, that's 60. And you add 10 more, that's 70. So the average days of man are 70 years. And if by reason of strength, they be 80 years. So if the Most High allow you to be about 80, yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Yeah, if the Most High have you to be about 80, it's not too much of a life anymore, man. in this world. Certain men like Moses, Caleb, they live life. And the Most High said that Moses, his natural force, wasn't abated. Right? Let me get that in Deuteronomy chapter 34. So when Moses gave up the ghost, he had the physical structure and health of a young man. I mean, he so-called died at 120. Deuteronomy 34:7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. So he was 120 and strong like he was 15, 17, fast like he was 20, lifted things like he was 30. But he was 120, man. His knees didn't get old. His back never started hurting. He didn't start crunching over and getting shorter. And that's that so-called black don't crack. That's where they get it from, man. Yeah, Jake, their natural force, that melanin, that skin, your body structure, it's hard for it to abate. But these other nations, they're not so. The Moabite woman, the Edomite woman, right? All these other nations, they look old, man. Even the Hamite woman look old, and she got melanin. The Hamite woman looked bad, and not bad in a good way, horrible. But you see certain sisters, brothers, it's hard to kind of figure out how old they are because they got that natural force embedded in them through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right? Now let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra. So the Most High kind of cut man down in Genesis chapter 6 and said, I'm going to make man to be about 120 years. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse, I'm going to start at 51. He answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore art not they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? So a woman, as she ages, her womb gets older. So the children that she bears as she increases in age, they come out weaker. It happens all the time. And it's not 100% of the time, but there's a chance. If you're pregnant at the age of 47, that child isn't going to always come out with that strength that if this woman was 19, 21, when she was pregnant, how that child would come out. You got people saying, 19, that's too young. According to the so-called white man, women were wives at 19, 18 back then, man. Our great-great-grandmothers were getting married at that age, man. They had like 10 brothers and sisters and 12 kids. But now when you get older, the child that comes out becomes a lot weaker, right? Just like man, the Most High said man on the earth. So as generations progress, as we approach the end of the world, the children that we bear are going to come out weaker. And she shall answer thee, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born at the time of age when the womb felleth otherwise, right? So old age babies and new age babies are different. Have a baby at 50 compared to having a baby at 25, those babies are going to be different. That one baby might have more allergies. He might be a little more susceptible to something, not all the time. Consider thou therefore how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you. So we're less of stature. Shaq is short, man, compared to men back then. Oh, Shaq, he's 7'3" though. Well, what do you mean? Well, guess what? Men, beast, plant life, all things were larger back in the ancient times. When you read the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter, it speaks about it takes 2 men to carry 1 cluster of grapes from Escol in the land of Canaan. 2 men to carry 1 cluster of grapes. That's how big the grapes were. First Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And that's not too far away. It says it's like he says 32 men could fit on 1 elephant. 32 men on 1 elephant. Men were taller back then. Goliath was like 13 feet tall, man. Anywhere between 9 and 13 feet. Most scholars say around 13 feet. You know, and he wasn't, you know, he wasn't the mightiest man. So everybody is born, you know, at different ages. Is anybody 13 feet now? No. Now the tallest man is probably 7 feet, 8 feet. You know, I don't know. But the point of the matter is, in Genesis chapter 6, the Most High cut man's life down to 120 years. And not just their life, he cut down their body structure, right? He cut down their health. And he cut it down, man, because man is wicked. And the point is, he didn't charge the angels with sin. He did this to man. But with that, I'm going to close up. I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this. I may do it tomorrow, right? You know, I may not. We'll go through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, right? But I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this, the truth about Noah, the flood, and giants, and cover the rest of that chapter, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh. Bashma Mashiach Yahushua. Most High willing you are edified. Kwam Yashala. Shalom.